When there's stuff on your mind and it's feeling unclear, just hop on the mic and speak without fear. Let's air out.
Record that, and what's going on, ladies and folks? It's been a while again. It's actually, I feel like I've done so few podcasts in the past like 2 months. Like I've done every other week, so I've only really done like 4 podcasts or so in the past couple months, and I feel like I'm kind of forgetting how to do it. Like I was a little nervous to hit play on this one. I don't really know what I'm going to talk about, which maybe that's a good sign. That's what we're typically going to these podcasts all about. Haven't done any research for this one. It's just all going to be I think it's going to be like a kind of a mental health episode. I'm going to talk about where my mindset's been. You know, some things have been changing, going on. Life's in another stage, you know, now that West Mountain is all wrapped up. So yeah, welcome back. Hello. I think the last time I left you guys was the rom-com episode, and I said either I'll have a very excited podcast next week, which would have been last week, or there won't be a podcast because I'm very sad and upset. And so there was no podcast last week. However, it was not because I was very sad and upset. So I'll just clear the air on that right now. Let's talk about this date though. I got a lot of messages, people excited, wanted to hear about it, stoked up about the last podcast. So the date, it was on a Saturday, it was at lunchtime, and it was a very fun story. That's as far as first dates go, it was definitely an awkward one. Very, you know, weird body language, weird trying to converse, you know, just standard first date, you know, jitters and anxiety. But I was trying to go into it super confident. I was firing myself up in the car. I was like, okay, I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna be talky. I'm gonna drive the conversation. I'm just gonna present my authentic Aaron. And then if I do that, people tend to like Aaron. So like, I'll be fine. So I go in really confident. I guess we live like 2 minutes apart, and she had wanted to drive separately. So immediately there's gonna be a lot of talk about my, you know, I'm a head case and I'm an overthinker and I assume the worst. So that's also going to be a theme of this podcast, and how I'm trying to combat that and be more mentally healthy and stable and more respectful of myself. So like, yeah, she's like, yeah, I want to drive separately, which immediately I'm like, oh, she wants an escape plan. She wants to be able to get out of there if the date goes poorly. Cause like, you know, we live so close to each other. It makes sense. And then the funny thing is when I go to, you know, drive to the restaurant we're going to, I end up following her the entire way there. And then, of course, on the way back, she follows me the entire way back. So we drove together, but not together. You know, we drove together on the road, you know, cars one in front of the other, just not in the same car. So we did still drive together. So that was funny when I got home thinking about that. Gave me a good chuckle. So we get to the restaurant, you know, say our hellos, what's going on? Immediately, like, the nerves kick in, and I'm already, like, you know, in my head, I'm so confident. I'm like, I have so many things to talk about. It's a lot of like the same with this podcast. Before I hit record on the podcast, I have so much to say. My brain's just flowing and firing. I'm getting like jokes and like things I want to talk about. And then when I sit down and hit record, they're gone. They vanish, just gone into the ether. Any joke that I've thought of before and I try and say it, it doesn't flow as naturally and organically. It just comes off poorly. So that is a lot of what happened on this first date. And of course, we go in, we get our table. And sitting like kitty corner to us is a guy both of us know. We're like, come on, what are the chances of this? The one time we go out for lunch, there has to be a guy we know. We've been trying to keep this thing kind of on the hush before it turns into whatever metamorphosis this is gonna take. So that immediately threw me off. We went and, you know, said hi to him, and then of course we sit at the table. And every time I'm looking at her, I see this guy who's like, he's an older gentleman, like he's a man. I look up to this guy. He's a man. He's smart. He's confident. He knows what he's about. And I'm like, every time I'm looking at her in my peripheral, I'm seeing this guy. And it completely threw off my entire confidence, all out the window. She said, like, when I was holding the menu, I was shaking. And I'm like, appetizers? You want appetizers? Just quivering because I'm seeing him. Like, I'm just assuming he's just going to judge my game the entire time, which I've said multiple times, got no game. I've got none. All I've got is just being myself and asking questions. That's what all the game I've got. So he was there for like first 20 minutes or so with his wife, and I was just a nervous wreck, not sure what to talk about. Fortunately, on the other side, she was also very, awkward and nervous and like, eyes looking all around me, not making eye contact, reading the menu very intently. But after he left, I felt a little better, kind of relaxed a bit, felt like I could talk about more stuff without having him judging me for what I'm saying. And then like the rest of the lunch, it was like a very casual, good lunch. Like I enjoyed it, even though there's awkward moments. And then yeah, we wrapped up. We got back to the cars, and she's like, "Hey, do you want to go home and play our golf game?" And I was like, "Okay, yeah, sure, no problem." And then overthinking brain kicks in, and it's like, "Oh well, we both just established that we have nowhere to be after this date, but I guess it didn't go well because if it went really well, we'd like do something together." Which I guess, I mean, looking back, we still technically did. So she did still want to hang out with me, just in like a different sense. And I don't know if it's like her parents wanted her back at home or whatever. I don't know. I never asked about it. It's kind of not really a big deal at this point. But that's where my brain went. So we kind of, yeah, drove home separate together, but separately. And then, I go right at the light, she goes left at the right. And we play our golf game for like 2 hours, which is longer than the lunch we had. So we played golf afterwards longer. And we've played a lot of golf since then. So that's like not abnormal for us. But yeah, after all that, I was like, the vibe I got and what I felt was like she's not into me. She's she did this out of like a respect for me because she had agreed to go on the date, and she wanted to hold up, be an honorable person, hold up her end of the deal. And she just kind of did it like, as a friend, like, hey, I'll go out to lunch with you, and then we'll just continue as friends after that. And that's where my brain went. That's kind of what I was like telling all my friends. I was like, yeah, I guess she's not really into me. No, I'm into her, but I guess it's a one-way street. So, at least I'm glad I tried, and I was kind of upset that it didn't go well. And now this is all, I had not spoken to her at all. This is all just in my head. This is all my assumptions of assuming the worst. Um, so then we go and see each other like 2 or 3 days later, and I was like, I have thoughts about what happened, and I'm like, I'm sure she has thoughts too. And I remember when I said it, I have thoughts. She goes, "Oh, that's scary." I'm like, huh? What would be scary? Like when I hear the word scary, I think the thoughts would be uh, like I'm not into you. It didn't go well. I don't want to see you again. That would be a scary thought to me. A scary thought would not be, hey, even though it was awkward, I want to see you again. You know. So that was kind of like a little nudging in the right direction. And then when we talked about it, she was just like, "Yeah, I was super awkward, super nervous, but like I really like you. I'm just, life's in a weird place right now. I don't know where I feel, how I feel about, getting into another relationship. Uh, she complimented me a bunch. Just told me what a great guy I am. Just tickled my ego, and I'm genuine, which is true. If you listen to this podcast, I am a genuine man. Maybe I share too much. That might be my fault. There's a lot of embarrassing stuff in this podcast, but I guess it's only embarrassing if you let it be embarrassing. If you don't care about it, you're usually fine. Um, yeah. So then after that talk, I was like, oh, much more optimistic. That was great. I'm feeling, as long as I know she's still into me. That's the key. That's the key. 'Cause sometimes you don't know, and you just assume. I never assume someone's flirting with me. I never assume someone's into me. I just always assume that no one is interested in the Brock star, and that's why I would like never ask anybody out, because no matter how close I got to someone, I'd be like, well, they just see me as a friend. They don't, they're not attracted to me. They're not into my thing. They just want to, I'm just a fun guy to have around, fun friend to have around. So yeah, after that, we ended up having an unexpected second date, because we were supposed to have lunch with another buddy of ours, and he couldn't make it. He canceled. So we went to the same restaurant. Got a booth this time. No one we know there, and it was much more relaxed. We were much more comfortable, much better conversation. Just felt like we were connecting more, we're getting more comfortable around each other, and it went really well. I guess because it wasn't planned either. It's kind of like it's just spontaneous. We assumed another guy was going to be there, but he wasn't. Yeah, and that went really well. And then this past weekend, I was hanging out at her place a couple times, watched some movies, had some cuddles, which cuddles are just, man, my favorite thing. I guess men don't get a lot of touch. We don't get a lot of physical touch in our day-to-day life, So having someone like put their arms around you, just, oh my god, just makes you feel so secure and so like cared for and loved. It's a wonderful feeling. I'm a cuddler. I'm a hugger. I love all that stuff. So that was a very nice weekend with her. Um and we're golfing like 2 or 3 hours a night, I feel like, and we're still talking every night. So it's going well. It's going well. I think this girl and I have a lot in common. I think we get along great. We're very comfortable with each other, and I look forward to seeing her all the time and talking to her all the time. And that is where part 2 of this podcast is gonna kick in. Talking about this crazy rain of mine. I guess something I should note is Westmount is done. Last Tuesday was our last day, and that was it. We went in for one day, built an ice hockey rink. They're like, all right, that's it, guys. See you later. So my time has been wide open. And you're like, Aaron, if your time has been wide open, why haven't you been doing a podcast? If you had Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday all off, Saturday, Sunday off. And the reason is because I'm a head case, and I'm kind of nuts. I'm kind of crazy. I really get attached to people. I'm not afraid to say that. If I'm into someone and I find out they're into me, I'm like, I get very excited because it doesn't happen very often. I get very fired up and like, I just want to talk to this person. I just want to hang out with this person. I just want to, like, that's the number one activity I want to do, is just hanging out with this person, no matter what we're doing. Activity plus this person equals happiness. That's it. That's the equation I need. Doesn't matter what the activity is. If that person's there, I'm cool. We could go to like a live execution. I'd be like, stoked. Awesome. Let's do it. So like, I guess since I last saw her, I was just like, man, I wanna see her again, and I wanna golf with her, and I wanna play games with her. And then because I get attached, I then start to like, put the cart before the horse. I put her needs or what I assume her needs are, and like just the want to talk to her above like my own self-care and my own life. And so I've just been like, since we've left Westmount, I've spent the past week just like degenerate December, right back from last year. I should go find my notebook, see what I wrote about December this time last year, see if I was still taking those daily writings. Yeah, I've just been like watching a lot of New Girl, playing a lot of golf, and essentially just like waiting until she's available to golf and talk at night, and then that's my daily activity. And it has not been good. It has not been enjoyable. I've been feeling like lethargic and lazy, and haven't been like super proud of myself, and I'm like, I really should be doing something. And I kind of flipped that around today. I woke up this morning like, okay, I'm gonna be productive. If I actually do something with my days and like actually have a bunch of stuff to talk about, that would make our conversations at night much better, because now I've got more things to talk about. It's not just me asking about her day, 'cause she's a very busy person. She's got a lot of stuff going on. She is, she's responsible and she's productive in her life, which is the opposite of the trash man. So now I'm like, I got to keep up now. She's inspiring me to like do more things, so that I have more things, cool things to talk about, and cool things to show her. So today was just like, I left my phone in my room all day. We did a massive clean on the house because we're having a Christmas party on Friday. We're having everyone over for a boiled dinner and a roast. So we like organized the entire house, cleaned everything. It took us like 2.5 hours to do all this. And then after doing that, I even came up and like tidied my room up. You can see I put the paintings back up on the wall. There's a couple new ones that you guys haven't seen over on that wall over there. Put up the Barry jersey. You guys can't see, I guess, my little Westmount shrine. It's kind of blocked by that water bottle. You can see I got a little Westmount shrine going on my desk, my dresser over there. So yeah, I'm like, stop spending all day just thinking about her. Do other things, and then at night when you're like, you've settled in your day, you're happy with what you've done, then a little reward is talk to her, play some golf with her, catch up with her. That's the healthy way to do it, not just make yourself bored and miserable all day and be like, I can't do anything. What if she wants to golf? I gotta be free. And it's like, no. So that's where my head was at today. I was like trying to get back on track. Last December was horrible. I just smoked weed and ate Uber Eats all the time. And now I threw out my Caliburns. I got no Caliburns left. We have no weed in the house. We have the Hell Beast downstairs, which we go downstairs if we want to get a little Nick buzz. You got to go downstairs to do it, which is it's easier than just having it in my room and just puffing it constantly. So yeah, trying to set up. I made a list up here: things to do not when golfing, things to do when not golfing. Guitar, kettlebells, walk, read, in sound mind. I gotta get those videos out. I got time now. I was putting off doing it because like I don't want to record, and then I realized I still have like 2 hours of recorded video that I could put out for those in sound mind things: podcast, origami, paint, draw. Indisputable Duncan could use some work. This tablet's been sitting on my desk, this little drawing tablet, for months now. I think I drew like 2 or 3 things on it. So yeah, trying to fill my time with not necessarily like job things. I'm technically on unemployment, but I don't get the Westman has to send in my record of employment, and they can't do it till your next pay period. So I gotta wait till next Friday for them to submit it. So I get my paycheck for just Tuesday for one day. Yeah, I'm not gonna find a job. I'm not looking for a job to fill my time, but there's a lot of other things I can do rather than just watching New Girl or It's Always Sunny and just vegging out and not doing anything. So here's to new schedule, doing new things, doing more things, and having more exciting things to talk about. And it'll translate to the podcast too. It's not just gonna translate to talking here. It'll translate to like everything. It'll just improve my life all around, every aspect of it. So yeah. Other exciting news. I was initially going to go back to Barrie. My plans for next year, 2023, I've changed them like 6 or 7 times because I'm not a planner. That's kind of my thing, is I don't think too far into the future. I just, overthink little things in the present. So like I really had no idea what I was going to do. Like 2022, I had no idea what I was going to do. I didn't think I'd end up at a golf course. That was never on my radar. So like next year was supposed to be like homeless traveling across the West. Then it was like I guess then Japan came up, and then what else was there? At one point I wanted to walk across the country. And then what else we got? I was gonna go work at a golf course in the West. I was gonna look at going to the turf program. Just a ton of different things, but like just ideas, but never like hard commit to anything. Like I did apply to Japan, and I'm still waiting to hear back from that, which will be a couple months or so. But really, like I got no idea what's going on in 2023. All I know is that 2022 was kind of like the year of confidence, and I grew as a person. I came out of my shell. I really stepped up my game on my mental health and my who I am as a person. And I think next year I want to make the year the success. That's the goal. Year of success. Start accomplishing things. You got the confidence now. You got the ability to just go out and try things and do things and just throw yourself out there. So next year, success. Doesn't matter, what level, just trying things and just like making more things is the success. And if they blow up, which I doubt they will, bonus, icing on the cake. But so next year I was initially going to go back to Barrie. And when I had the chat with her after the first date, that was like one of her things is like, you're going to go back to Barrie in January. And then that's going to be like, kind of doing a distance thing is going to put a lot of strain on it, especially if you've only been really seeing each other for like a month. And of course, in the car, I'm like, it'll be no problem. I'll be unemployed. I can come back whenever I want. It's like an hour and a half drive. It'd be so easy, and it would have been very difficult. I was defending myself in the car, being like, it'll be no problem, but it would have been very difficult if that was what was going on. Just having that, not being able to just like, hey, you want to meet up in 10 minutes? That's gone. You have to plan everything so far in advance, and then you'd just be like, you'd have to see each other like once a week or something. So I started looking for a place, or I didn't start looking for a place. I started telling people I was going to look for a place in Waterloo, trying to find like a sublet or something. Really regret telling Chad I don't want this room anymore. I told him in July, I think, and then of course I met her in August. So just timing worked out very poorly. So yeah, like a couple coworkers that offered me places. One guy offered me a place for free. Another guy offered me like his basement. His landlord's gonna be looking for a tenant in the basement. That's gonna be like $1,000 a month. And I was like, I could do that. And just be broke, I guess, or find like a second, part-time job. And then out of the blue, I'm going to Chris's house on Monday for Muay Thai Monday. And Ethan and I are kind of chatting on the way there about like, so what's the plan for next year? Where are you gonna live? What's going on? I'm like, yeah, I want to stay here because I want to like be close with her, and I got like a lot of friends here. I got much more in Waterloo now, which is crazy because like before Waterloo was not a city I wanted to stay in. I'm like, there's not much in Waterloo for me. Barrie's at least got the waterfront, and, like all my hometown friends and everything like that. But now Waterloo's got like just so much more to it, so much more that I want to stick around here as much as possible. And what was the train of thought? So yeah, Ethan and I were just chatting, seeing what the possibilities were. I'd go back to Westmount in March, so I'd have like a guaranteed job for the year if I needed it, if I didn't, end up getting into Japan. And then after Ethan drops me off at Chris's house, I just go in and sit down for 2 minutes, and Chris goes, so I talked to the Meg, which the Meg is Andrea, that's his girlfriend, and we would like to offer you to rent you the guest room next year. And I'm like, really? No way. Yes, as long as it's not any inconvenience, as long as you're not like feeling pressured into the situation, I would love to live with you guys. And he's like, yeah, for sure, dope. We'll charge you like $400 a month. That's what Derek's paying. Derek is Andrew's brother, who also rents the other guest room. And I'm like, okay, sick. That's less than my parents were gonna charge. My parents are gonna charge me 500 a month to rent my own bedroom back at home. And that's not like because my parents are like, greedy and malicious. It's just because money's tight and they need the support. So I'd be happy to give the money to my parents and pay rent. I got no issue with that. But $400 a month, and now I just have to move my stuff 15 minutes away rather than move my stuff like 2 hours back to Barrie. If I need to take multiple trips, it's so much easier than it would be having to like come back and forth Barrie to Waterloo to get all my stuff. So next year, the podcast studio is gonna be moving over from to, I shouldn't say his address because now it's someone else's address too. I shouldn't even said my address actually. So yeah, we'll scrap that. We'll censor that out. But yeah, we're moving to a different part of the city. Still only like it's like 15 minutes from my house here. It'd be a little longer drive to Westmount in the morning, but it's no problem. Like it's a 20-minute drive rather than a 8-minute drive. It's not really a deal breaker. But that's super exciting to go live with Chris. I've never lived with Chris before. I spend like four days a week at his house already. So like when Derek moved in, I'm like, "What's up, Derek? I'm your fourth roommate. I'm here all the time." And I think like the first 4 days he moved in, I was at their house for something, just hanging out in their kitchen every time he came downstairs. Like, "What up, Derek?" I've joked around, that's like my rec center because I go there to do like Muay Thai and eat food and just exercise and play Clone Hero. Just keep Chris entertained really while Andrea works and cleans. But it's gonna make Muay Thai a lot easier now. Where Chris and I are looking at taking like an actual Muay Thai class and getting out of his golf sim where we just do all our training now. Having the golf sim is absolutely gonna be sick. I think he's trying to get a projector. Right now he's just got like the TrackMan and the big screen and then like the obviously where you hit into and a couple mats. But getting the projector, because right now you can play courses, but like you have to hit and then go look on the laptop screen to see where the ball went, and having the projector you could just see it, without looking away. So that would make it a huge game changer. Chris is already like, "We're gonna play 9 holes every morning, buddy. 8 a.m. 9 holes, and we're gonna get so dialed in at golf," which I'm like, that's sick. The girl I'm talking to, I don't know. I didn't message her before this to see if she wanted me to keep her anonymous. So just the girl I'm talking to, the girl I'm seeing, is I guess what's gonna be her alias right now. We play a lot of golf on the phone, and now it's like, hey, we can take this golf game to almost a real course. We can play actual golf and compete, because we were pretty competitive about this golf game. It's very back and forth. She's a gamer, and she's got my number. She absolutely does. So yeah, that's super cool. I'm still gonna be around to film stuff with Ethan and Martin, which is gonna help for the success. They just submitted a video to a film festival, which is very exciting. Should hear about that next year, see if they got in, but that's super cool. My face could potentially be on a screen in front of a bunch of random people, which would be very exciting. Just riding coattails, that's what I do. Yeah, so that's like it for all the exciting news. Yeah, what else? What else? I downloaded Snapchat, trying to get back in with the youths, see what that's all about. Because if I ever want to send someone a picture, I have to like text it to them or like send it over WhatsApp or something, and it's just a very non-intuitive way to do it, and it's just so much easier to just like snap a picture and send it over Snapchat. And also with their stories, there's like stuff I want to post on my Instagram story, but I got so much family and stuff on Instagram that I just can't. Oh, sorry. I just can't post it out there because I don't want my parents to like, "What's this about? What is acid?" So yeah, so that's gonna have a nice little, and it's also good for like having more media for Aaron the Brock. That's my Snapchat name. If you have Snapchat, go find me, Aaron the Brock. Easier to post stuff for like that, posting that on Snapchat and stuff there, because I think that's better. The second Instagram account, I'm kind of having two Instagram accounts is just a pain in the ass. I don't like switching back and forth. I don't want to post to it. It's just, and I have all the same followers from that Instagram account on. They're just less from my personal Instagram account. So like that's, I really don't need two Instagram accounts. That's just silly. Yeah. Now, I'm sure there was other things I want to talk about. Ever talk about curling? Ever talk about how we went curling at Westmount? So like 3 or 4 weeks ago, the head of ice, the ice king, I don't know what his name is, the master ice maker, whatever, the Dr. Freeze. He usually works for the greens department, and he does work for the greens department in the summer, and then once wintertime rolls around, he switches over and goes to the curling rink, and he gets all that ice ready and all that stuff. So he sent out an invite like, "Hey, if anyone wants to curl, Come on, I'll teach you guys on this Thursday afternoon. So it was just me and the girl I'm seeing, and then one of the assistant supers, and then the King Ice. Um, and so he kind of gave us like a little tutorial, gave us the entire history of ice and curling, and all his accolades he's got from making ice all around the country. Top 10 in the country, I think, at what he does, making things colder. Number one is just Mother Nature. Number two is a refrigerator. Number three is liquid nitrogen. So, he's in that list though. He's in that list. Curling was interesting. I didn't know how I was gonna do going into it because I'm not like an athletic guy. I don't have like finesse with my hand-eye coordination. Chris is like very like good at like little fine details and like working with his fingers and like very particularly he's like knitting and like little tinkering with things and just playing with things. And I got hands like a stone mason, man. They're just here for power. That's it. They can grab thing and they can hit thing, and that's about it. But any fine movement, any fine any little balance things, I don't have that. I'm not made that way. So I was like, curling, it's interesting. You gotta get a little spin. You gotta get that balance going, which the balance actually was fine on because the pose is like just like an upright, a high lunge. So like one leg's bent in front of you, the legs dragged behind you, and I do that in yoga like every single day. So that was fine. It's just you're moving while doing it, but I can hold that pose just fine. So like after the tutorial, we threw some stones, and then we broke off into teams, and it was me and Jis. I'll call her Jis, girl I'm seeing, Jis. Me and Jis we're on a team against the two managers, and they started off up 2-0. They in the first frame, I think they are. So we each threw 3 stones. I think there was 6 stones per side. So we each threw 3 stones. I was the hammer. She was the lead. And yeah, it started off not great. It's very hard curling because like the difference in power you need from like to just reach the target and then to hit the back wall feels very finite. It's like a very little amount, and I still don't know. I haven't thrown very many stones. I've thrown like 40 stones or something. So that was really hard to get used to. And then also, you never throw the stone straight. You always curve it around. So he says like opening a doorknob. So when you're holding it, and right before you let it go, you kind of turn your hand and release, and then that little spin. When the stone starts to slow down, that spin will kind of pull it in whatever direction it's rotating, and you can curve it around stones and kind of curve it into where you want it to go. So once we got all that figured out, we get to the second frame, and what are they called, frames or ends? I don't remember. And we end up tying it. We ended up finishing the game 2-2. It all came down to the last stone, and I just sniped one, just curved it right around the little defense they put out, knocked out the stone in the center to get our second stone in there, tied it up, and ended tied 2-2. Both of our first times curling, Jis and I. And yeah, it was very exciting. I didn't think I'd enjoy it that much, but I definitely curl again. If any of my friends here in Waterloo are curling, would be down to join. Would be down to go find some ice somewhere. Ethan was asking if we can rent the Waterloo ice or the Westmount ice. And I'm like, I don't think so. They keep it for higher paying individuals than us. And then we did have a second curling event with a couple more people, and then we did the same setup. So we had our assistant super, and King Ice versus myself, Jis, Cameron, and Andrew. Which I guess if I said all that detail, you're gonna figure out that I work with her. I guess I've been trying to keep this a secret for so long. Yeah, I work with her. So put that information together. I'm not gonna see anybody at work anymore, anyways, until next year. So plenty of time for you guys to get it out of your system. Yeah, and we lost. We lost the second game. They were throwing some heat, and we could not get it together. I butchered my last throw. That was kind of a key one. I guess my second stone. The way they like call out, I don't remember what they're called. The way they like call out, there's someone at the far end of the ice like looking at where the stones are and then tell you like where to put it and which direction to spin it. and they hold a hand out to tell you like this is the direction to spin, and I thought that was the direction they wanted me to spin it towards, not the direction your hand is starting and you're spinning it the opposite direction. So I just threw a stone that just wildly curved way away from all the other stones I'm supposed to hit, and it was like in my head I knew it was wrong, but I'm like, you gotta obey the skipper. I think that's what they're called, the skipper. I was like, she's telling me to throw the stone that way, and like I'm gonna trust her instinct. And then I threw it, and everyone's like, you threw it the wrong way. And I'm like, I knew it. I should have just trusted my instinct. I'm just stupid though, and it just happens. It happens. Yeah, and then we lost that game, and we were playing for their jobs. We were like, hey, you guys can become greenskeepers. We'll become all the superintendents, and they got to keep their jobs, unfortunately. So we didn't get a promotion there. But yeah, that was curling. Something else I want to talk about that's unrelated to everything. Just a weird thought I had last night. I was listening to Daft Punk's Discovery album from 2001. Great album. I had watched a YouTube video like these albums are 10s from the 2000s, and that was like one of the first ones he talked about. Andrew Fantano. I don't watch his videos, but it just popped up in my my YouTube feed. So I was listening to that, and I turned off all my lights, turned off my monitors, and just sat in darkness in my chair and was just jamming, just like listening to the music, going to it, having a great time. And at one point I was sitting here looking at my hands, and I was like making hand puppets, and like they were talking to each other, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. It's really cool how I like control my hands, like how like these are part of me. I have full range, and like I'm not even really thinking about doing all these little finger motions, and I'm doing them. And then I was like looking at my right arm, and I was wearing a t-shirt, and I was looking at my forearm, and I was like, that's a nice forearm you got there. That's like the one muscle I want to be big. I don't care about any other muscle. I want some nice meaty forearms, some girthy vascular forearms. I don't know why. I think it's just because like it shows out of a t-shirt. And when I was in 8th grade, I remember I had like really skinny arms, and someone said I had lady hands and like a little lady wrist. And I do have a lady's wrist. Like you can see, I have a very narrow wrist. So I was like self-conscious about it. And Sarah's family, Sarah's dad and Sarah's brother have incredible forearms, like just like two fuzzy footballs, just dark hair, very thick and wide. And I always told her family about like, you guys got Filipowiczes have great forearms. It's in their genes. And her brother just had a kid, and like that kid's gonna have sick forearms. I know it for sure. So yeah, I was looking at my arm, and I was kind of flexing, just kind of admiring my right arm. And then I just happened to like peer over at my left arm, and I had this weird sensation of like, who are you? What, have you always been here? Have you, like this left arm, I never really pay attention to my left arm. Like anytime I need to do anything, I go to righty. Righty does everything. Lefty only gets pulled out in team efforts and team tasks when I need two arms to do something. But righty is always relied upon. So I'm like, I was looking at my left arm, and like I'm kind of uncomfortable around you. Like I don't know, it's like a weird first date. I don't know how to talk to you. I don't know what to do with you. And then I was flexing this arm, and I was like comparing it to my right arm. Like you're just worse in every way, and it's because I don't respect you enough. I don't give you enough care, and passion. And it's like my entire left side of my body. It's like my left lat's worse, my left quad's worse. Like everything, just left is worse. So yeah, that went on for like 20 minutes of me just examining my arm and like feeling bad about how I haven't treated my left arm with like the dignity and respect he deserves, because he's always there for me. He's always picked second, which sucks for him. He's never called upon. Right arm, whenever my right side's always, if I'm taking a picture, it's always the right side. If I'm gonna like flex and check myself out in the mirror, it's right arm, never left arm. So now I guess I gotta overwork the left arm to make him catch up. So whatever work I do on the right arm, because normally I start with my right arm, then go left arm, but the right arm's like just stronger. So now I gotta remember to do more with my left arm and get them equal. I want to bring these guys together. They're two hands. They're my two hands. I want them to be. I wonder if all that bang in the stand's gonna screw you guys up. Sorry. I want them to be, a team. They're both part of me, and I wanted to give him what he deserves. So old lefty. Yeah, even looking at it, like I feel like I prefer my right hand. Do you guys get this sensation? Look at both your arms right now. Stare at your right arm. See what thoughts come up. I think of like power, warmth, strength, reliability, and then I look at left arm, and it's like I almost get like a little anxiety looking at it, like a little uncomfortable. Like I don't know what to do with you. And it's like it's not power. It's like my hand looks. This hand's way less vascular. This hand's, it's just it's not the same. And yeah, it's like confusion, denial, regret. That's what the left side is. And I wonder if that imbalance, if I can strengthen that out, is that something? Is there something to that? Getting your left and right side in balance, is that gonna like balance out my mentality too, like make me more even? If I'm always just like focused on the right side, I don't know. That's getting like beyond my pay grade. Um, yeah. So that was a thought I had. I kind of want to go grab my journal. I want to see what. Oh, I might not have even started this journal in December of last year. No, I started this journal. So this is my daily journal that I started last year. I only got up to July 6th. And July 6th, you want to know what I wrote July 6th? This is very out of date, by the way. Incredibly out of date. It says, you should ask out Marin. Literally just wasting time and being a coward for no reason. She only has 2 weeks left. If she says no, it can't be that awkward. She enjoys talking to you. You are just such a wreck and nervous in groups with her. Be confident, ask her out, and live with the result. The worst case scenario is you never ask and she leaves and you regret it when it's too late. Ask out Marin. Ask out Marin. Hail and smoke less weed. That was July 6th, and that's the last thing I wrote in here. And honestly, the next thing I would have written here would be about GIS. So that would have been really fun if I actually did that back to back. But I mean, that advice worked out for I took that same advice to GIS. That come for the confidence. I asked out 2 girls this year, which I had never in any ever have I asked out 2. Maybe in my life, I don't even know if I've asked out maybe 2 girls. That's not true. I've asked out like 8, but like 2 in 1 year. One of them said yes, so that's 50% success rate. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. But let's you want to see how we started January last year, I guess. I feel like I might have read this. Woke up at 7:15 to my alarm and laid in bed for a bit. Decided to start my day with a tea and dive into my new Jordan Peterson book, 12 More Rules, before yoga with Ethan at 8. Day 2 of Move went well. I hope to do yoga every morning this year, with or without Ethan. Did not happen. Most mornings though. I did do it most mornings. I feel like we've missed maybe 10 to 15 days this year, which is that's not a bad ratio at all. Like 350 days of yoga is still a great amount of yoga. Had a list of things planned and got most of it done except writing my wisdom for Sarah. I did end up writing that. And job hunting, both can be done tomorrow. Putting a lot of effort to the steam clean intro and planning, and finished braving the wilderness. A great day. So yeah, started off January pretty strong. I wish I had December, but December last year was just degenerate December. I was just sitting in my room smoking too much weed and just not getting anything done, and I felt like I was getting too close to that this week. So I'm pretty good at like pulling the brakes now. When I see something's getting out of hand, today I just tossed out more weed. And I threw out the other caliber, and just when I see things are getting away from me and they're not treating me the way I want to, they're not giving me the result I want them to give me, you ditch it. You just gotta take a deep breath, throw it away, no regrets, just make the move. So yeah, that was it. And honestly, I don't know what else. Maybe a short podcast today, just a little personal update, a little apology for being bi-weekly. Because really, I feel like if I just talk about anything else for 20 more minutes, it's just going to be rambling, and, not a whole lot's going to be of use to you guys. So that's really what I want to talk about. My life is, I was in a bit of a rut since leaving Westmount. I was kind of lost and not sure where I was going and what I was doing. I wasn't taking too good care of myself, but we turned it around. We pulled out of it. I've got a lot of good things going on here in Waterloo. I'm excited to see where they go from here. Excited to see what happens with Jis. I'm excited to see her tomorrow potentially. Yeah. So yeah, I'm doing good. Aaron's doing real good, and I hope you guys are doing good too. Because you know what, this podcast would not exist without you guys. The reason I've never missed 2 weeks in a row is because I'm like, I owe it to them. They listen to me all the time. I love you guys. As I say, I surround myself with great people, You guys are all great people, and I can do things with confidence because I know I've got such like a good support net that's going to catch me and be like, hey man, you tried, like good for you, like keep trying. I'm never going to fall too far because I got so many people below me ready to catch me. So thank you to all you guys for sticking with me through this rocky season 2 so far. I know it's kind of been all over the place, but I feel like my life has kind of been all over the place, and it's a good reflection of how my mind's been lately. So thank you for listening. I'm doing well. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you enjoyed this podcast on a nice Thursday morning. And we'll talk to you next week, I hope. Hopefully I got some things to talk about. We might be going to the Christmas Village this Saturday. My car needs new brakes, though, so I got to see if my car's up and running and can actually get me to the train. So, that's the thing. Anyways, thanks for listening. And Aaron, out.
Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed your stay. Now take what you learned and have a great day. Damn, it feels good to air out.